Right, hello, welcome to all right, hello, welcome to a live edition, a live episode of the ONG Strike Zone. Took us a minute to get up and going, and it's Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, and soon to be joining us, Marcus Green. How you doing tonight, Kel?
I'm doing all right, Brian. Uh, we saw our friend Kofi off Saturday. It was a celebration, man. Very beautiful service, very fitting for Kofi, and it was a big contingent there. You know, uh, Drew and Scotty and the crew was there, and the Marching 100 was there, and both Dr. White and Dr. Chipman spoke, and I thought that his family did an awesome job, um, and talking about him, the spiritual leaders. Man, it was just really a very good celebration of given the occasion. So uh, that's kind of what was on my mind coming to this show.
Yeah, it was a nice, beautiful service. I enjoyed everybody's reflections. Beautiful to hear from his wife and daughters, and that was, as you said, a celebration of life. And is humbling for those who were able to see the viewing one last time earlier in the week. You know, it's these at these moments it is celebration, and I think
Yeah,
that's what the spirit felt. That's what it felt like, a true celebration. And um it was very refreshing. And for those who maybe didn't see all of it, or parts that you missed, we do have it still on our Facebook page, pinned on our Facebook page at ONG Strike Zone, and encourage you to any parts that you missed to go back and watch. um and we also want to encourage you to continue. The GoFundMe page is still active, GoFundMe.com, and just search Kofi Hemingway. Any amount you give is a blessing and appreciated, and will go um, to good use in some form or fashion. So I want to encourage you, until I know Vaughn had set a goal on that. I want to encourage you until we hit that goal. I'm going to keep reminding, whether it's on this show or other shows, on Twitter or Facebook, to continue to give until we hit that goal. Um, and so, with that said, Marcus Green joining us. We're all here. Marcus, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a pretty good day. Real busy, but I'm here and I'm blessed to be amongst you guys.
All right, all right. Well, we've got a loaded show for you guys tonight. For you guys joining us,
okay.
and shout out to
Uh
everybody
oh.
who's joining us on YouTube
Uh
and on
oh.
Facebook. We appreciate you jumping in early.
Look like
Hmm.
Hello,
Yes, sir.
are we live still?
I believe
I
so.
got so I got sniped. There we go. So
Man, I
kind of
thought y'all were doing a mannequin challenge. I was like,
look
oh my
look how
God,
that
I'm gonna
look
lose
how that
this.
Really?
I'm gonna lose
Hey,
this one.
I think we all got sniped.
look the so I'm about to call back Spectrum and be like, y'all lied to me. Y'all told me I had this good internet and my stuff wasn't never gonna skip.
I don't think
And
I don't think it was you, man. I think something in the background. Hopefully, uh,
all right.
Roy got it straight.
All right, so I don't know where I last left off, but I know I felt like I was talking to myself. But so let me reset again. We've got Coach Robert McCullum coming up at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk
Mhm.
about the men's basketball program, find out where we're at, what's happening, and then at the top of hour two, Coach Nikki, Rochelle Houston, Coach is going to join us. The head coach, director of tennis for our women's tennis team, which they are the number one seed heading into the SWAC tournament and just one match away from wrapping up the regular season. Even though I think we crowned them already, we still have to finish the last little thing, right? We got that rescheduled match against Prairie View, I believe.
PV. Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe PV is a makeup.
yeah. So that's a makeup, and so once we
What
take
are we
care
making
of,
up? What we making up? I mean, we undefeated. They can't catch us. We got a
I
head to head
agree
on
with you.
everybody else.
We got a head to head on
We got
everybody else.
so what do we make up? And I did see. I'm gonna ask Coach when she comes on. I got to ask about that because I saw where it was postponed on the website.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. I saw that on FAMU Athletics. So it was rescheduled to April 11th, which was what? That's next Tuesday, or
Hmm.
Tuesday, I should say. And then it said postponed. So yeah, we'll find out some more details tonight. And kind of set everything going there. Want to remind everybody, if you would, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We got to get our numbers up. So we got a lot of people who watch, but for whatever reason, they not subscribing or hitting the thumbs up button, and so I know a lot of folks out there are watching, and so we just need you to go ahead and just subscribe. Just go ahead and subscribe. We don't overcloud or overfill your inbox or your feed with a lot of stuff. I mean, we got jobs, so I mean we we're not we're not sitting at the computer with a team of people loading your timeline up. So don't worry about all that. But it helps the algorithms and it helps the numbers if we can get our numbers up. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at ONG Strike Zone. If you are on one, two, or all three of those platforms, go find us and go like, follow, share it with some rattlers in your groups, your class groups, wherever you're at watching the show. Let people know. If they don't know by now, they should. Okay, and we appreciate it. All right, gentlemen. So let's kind of get into the Rattler Roundup before we hit the bottom of the hour and get with Coach McCullum. What do you want to start with first, Kelvin?
Pro Day, since we didn't get to it last show.
Yeah. Okay. Um, from what I recall, there were we didn't get all 31 or 32 teams that showed up.
22.
Yeah, there was about 22 that showed up, and I don't find that to be you know a bad thing, especially nowadays when you have that's 22 NFL franchises, but nowadays
Right,
you got the XFL. Uh,
right.
what's the other league? The USFL.
Hmm.
So in
Canadian
Canada,
Football League.
yeah, Canadian Football League. So there's three other leagues out there with scouts. So I'm sure they were in attendance. What are some takeaways from
Yeah.
Pro Day that you saw, Kelvin?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that I talked with some of my contacts over at Florida State, and they didn't have all 32 either. So they had a slightly a few more than we did, but we had more actual pro prospects this year than they do. They anticipated to have a really big class next year because of most of their draft eligible guys who would have got drafted opted to return. So we had similar numbers. Now in terms of our guys, Isaiah and Zay Smith, you know everything's pretty much baked in the cake at this point. So they didn't do the things, like the 40 and the things that they had already done at previous combines and so forth. Uh, they just did more drills and so forth. And I think the big thing with Zay Land was making sure that he maintained that weight, that extra 10, 15 pounds, of muscle he added. And so he was at 235 on pro day. He was at 236 at the combine. So that bodes well. He did a lot. He did linebacker drills also. He's a hybrid. He's versatile. That can be good and bad depending. But I think whatever teams like him already like him. And like with James Houston, some of the success of Darius and some of the other HBCU players with his kind of stats and size and skill sets, I anticipate him, no later than round three, to be honest, late in round three. And Zay has done everything. Zay Smith's done everything he can at this point. He's exceeded expectations, so I expect him to get drafted. To be honest, sixth, seventh round. He's just too good of a talent. He too much production. So now with the kickers and punters, you just never know. But I'm sure they'll get a shot from all accounts, particularly Fadul. They did well, and um, Bowler Bowler's time was nice, uh, and his reps with the 225 was pretty decent. So all in all, I think everybody did what they needed to do. We'll just have to wait and see how things fall at this point.
Marcus, what are your takeaways from pro day?
Well, I'm glad that both reportedly did very well. They didn't do anything, or they performed well, and they didn't do anything to knock the standing that they've had as it relates to their All-Star game performances, and in Isaiah Land's case, his performance at the Scouting Combine. And so I'm pleased about that, and I'm also pleased about the amount of public relations attention that both have gotten. And it's something that we haven't seen in a while, if anything, for maybe FAMU athletes in terms of the media attention and requests that have come for Isaiah Land and for Xavier Smith speaking with NFL media personalities like Steve Weish, Steve Smith. Must be thinking about Steve's, but just having them extend themselves to be able to give both Isaiah Land and Xavier Smith a platform to showcase their talent and tell their stories. And so that's been, to me, just as good an omen and to parallel along with the performances for all the hard work they've put in. So I'm pleased that they continue to have the PR machine work on their behalf past the typical all-star game and combine time periods, but as we're going into the actual draft season.
Hmm. Just was looking here, just kind of following up from an article in HBCU Game Day regarding five takeaways from the pro day. One of the notables that was in attendance was the Washington Commanders general manager uh, by the name of Martin Mayhew, and he's quoted as actually, you know, coming to actually see Isaiah Land. I mean, instead of sending scouts, which is what most GMs do, and I'm going to quote right from his conversation that he had with Vaughn. Wilson, he said, quote, "You guys, meaning FAMU, have talent. That's why I'm here. Isaiah Land is a legit prospect. I saw him at the Senior Bowl, and he had a great week from start to finish. He belongs, and I came to see him specifically, but I saw a lot of guys here who are pretty exciting prospects." And so that's uh, that's huge. And what I really like is when you go and analyze the stories of these guys. That too is also what's impressive. I mean, here's and then there's the piece with Steve. Um,
Smith.
Steve, no, not Steve Smith. The most
Steve,
recent one
Steve,
that came out
Oh,
Steve
Weiss,
Weish.
right?
with
Hmm.
Steve Weiss and Andrew Siciliano of the NFL Network. And Isaiah talks candidly about the whole transfer portal thing. And obviously we know the backstory about how he didn't have he didn't have any offers prior to FAMU's offer. Then you had the Xavier Smith backstory of how he was a walk on. BJ Bowler, even though he was recruited, I mean, still some people might think he's undersized, but he had like a 38-inch vertical from I think with some of the metrics that I heard from him. And then you have Chris Vidul, who was an All-American punter, then had an ACL injury, and then became an All-American punter again after the injury. So I mean, the stories write themselves, and I think it's exciting for the future because hearing recent comments from Coach Simmons about this current group of guys. I mean, he is really excited, and I think he has to catch himself. And anybody who watched the most recent 220 Club, as he was talking about the defense or talking about guys individually, especially Jordan Moore,
More.
that he has to. I think he catches himself because he doesn't want to be too overly glowing in his praise and his excitement. But this is going to be as good a
We got
year.
talent,
Yeah, yeah, we
And
got.
and
depth.
we
Well,
got and we got and we got a lot of it. Right. We
yeah,
got legitimate Division 1 talent.
and you know
Yeah.
what I hear him saying is I think he's in that mode now where he's trying to be cautiously alert for everybody because I've heard him say it a couple times now about reminding guys if guys take care of their business in school, meaning
Right.
guys, like you can't tell a guy so many times, but guys, this can be special. We can have a special year, but it's you guys have to do your part in the classroom with the right classes. Do what compliance tells you to do, or you know what you're supposed to do. What you're handle your business appropriately. Hopefully, the team stays safe, free from injuries and things like that. We have a little luck on our side, and we don't catch an injury bug. And yeah, I mean, the fall can be really special, but and then we got to pray because look, last year we were excited, we were hyped up, and then all of a sudden we got hit with a rock, like a rock came flying through the window out of nowhere. That whole compliance crap, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, I get he's cautious. I think when I hear him talk, but then he goes from the I'm excited to I got to be real cautious, not to get too excited, and remind guys, those of you who were here last year, don't let what happened last year happen this year. And hopefully with a new administrative team, that our administrative team is working to get above and in front of any potential issues. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it's a lot of them. And, they done staffed up now, so we don't want no excuses. And hopefully they're working on with those guys right now.
yeah.
Not waiting till the summer, because I'm sure there'll be a couple that need some help. We already know they should already know that those who got to go to summer school and be making preparations right now.
And another thing, Marcus, I know you keep track of our numbers and things of that nature, but I do know coaches said we do have open spots. There are still spots available. So and I think he's still anticipating some guys coming. So I mean, we can talk about
Hmm.
more. We can talk about that more in a few. But hey, let's take our first break. And coming up on the other side, we're going to talk with our head men's basketball coach, Coach McCullum, on the other side. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Hey, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, and Marcus, and it's a pleasure to be joined by our head men's basketball coach, Coach Robert McCullum. Coach, thanks for joining us tonight. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm happy to be on the show.
Yes, sir. Hey, we're always glad to have you on. You're a friend of the O&G, so we're glad you can make some time for us tonight. Hey, before we get into talking about, FAMU basketball, let's talk about the NCAA tournament which just ended. Obviously, you had two schools from the state of Florida in the Final Four. UConn, you have low seeds, the four, a couple fives, a 9 seed. What when you look at what happened with the big dogs, the top 3 seeds across the board, and what you've seen, what's your take on? Is this Final Four a sign of some things that will be coming down the road, or is this possibly maybe just a one-off situation? What's your take on what you saw in the Final Four and national championship game?
Okay, I certainly would not say that it's a sign of things to come. I think we'd have to see a year like this for more than 1 year before I would go that far to say it's a sign of things to come. And let me give you a couple of examples why. We all have heard the old saying, "There's nothing new under the sun." But we've had high seeds to advance this far before. Let's go back to 2011, 12. I think 2011, I think we had Butler and VCU in a Final Four. And of course, VCU initially under the leadership of Jeff Capel, who's now at Pitt, whose team was in the tournament this year. He sort of set the table, ran a great first leg, so to say. He handed the baton off to Anthony Grant. He ran a good second leg. He passed it on to Shaka Smart. Shaka Smart
Mm-hmm.
took the baton and took him to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
And UCLA advanced a couple of years ago as a high seed. Let's go all the way back to 2006, and I would sort of compare that where I'm going. George Mason, out of nowhere, advanced to the Final Four, knocked off an extremely talented UConn team to advance to the Final Four in 06. So we've seen this, a team come out of nowhere, or a team who by no means would you consider them a tradition-rich program, put together a run, get hot at the right time. And as Kevin sort of alluded in the prelude, there's some other factors that I think that certainly that had some impact in terms of so many teams, that maybe teams that did not even advance to the Final Four, but did advance to the Elite Eight, advance to the Sweet 16, made their presence felt in a manner that most prognosticators had not predicted.
So, do you think I don't know if it's easy to rank an impact factor, or how you would rank these factors, but the factors that I often hear people talk about: NIL, transfer portal, and then even the fact that the extra COVID year. I mean, we've still got guys who are in their sixth year. I mean, there's some grown man teams out there.
Yeah.
they got
Yes.
23 and 24-year-olds playing. So I mean, those are just some of the three. Those are the three of the big ones I hear. I don't know how would you rank those in terms of impact, or if there's some other ones out there that maybe we're missing.
No, and that's where I was going to respond to Kelvin's initial comments. What I was going to say, intentional, or maybe he didn't have a chance to finish, he actually left out NIL. he mentioned the transfer portal and older players, but the correct answer would be D, all of the above, would be the best answer. And it could vary from team to team. I'd probably say NIL first. And so here's what I can tell you is, I just got back from Houston. And so when the Final Four is going on, that's our national coaches convention. And so, aside from head coaches meetings, assistant coaches meetings, DOBO meetings, you name it, clinics and all of that, you also have a chance to sit down, whether it's over lunch or in the lobby. If you make the all lobby team, you have a chance to visit with coaches from other parts of the country that you rarely see outside of maybe your past Mike Cross doing summer recruiting. And I can tell you the most important topic, the second most, the third most, the fourth, the fifth, NIL. NIL is trumping facilities. And that's not going anywhere. And let's not think, when I say NIL, I'm not only talking about the blue bloods. And there may be a conversation for a different day. We've got a couple of schools in this SWAC already. Cost of attendance has been around 6, 7, 8 years. Given cost of attendance, a couple of schools already giving NIL money. So NIL have a huge factor. Let's start here in the state, at Miami, because they were one of the first ones, to my knowledge, that just came out openly and say, this is what we've done, what we're doing, this is the amount we offer. So the little guard from Kansas State that came in got a 2-year deal. 2-year deal, $800,000. So his teammate Isaiah Wong said, hold up, okay, that's cool. I got no problem with that, but I've been here. I've been in the program 3 years. So if he can come in the door and get 4 a year, what about me? All right, so the ante had to be up for him. Now, what I really have a great deal of admiration for is their ability to build chemistry okay, and not let, he's getting more than me, I should be getting more, not let that trump the importance of the team. And that's really admirable because there were a number of teams, whether they admit it or not, the NIL prevented team chemistry. Could have been some other factors, but there are several situations where NIL opportunities for some and not others took away, prevented team chemistry. And team chemistry will prevent your talent from having been as impactful as it otherwise could. And so that's why you saw some teams that we expected to have better seasons did not have the seasons that they were expected to have.
Go
Now
ahead, Calvin.
let me
Oh,
go on
sorry.
to let me go to the age factor. You mentioned 23, 24. You had 25, 26-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Fifth year, sixth year players. San Diego State had 1 6-year. One of the starters was a 6th year. 3 5th-year guys. It's very difficult to overcome that kind of experience. And now, not all of them, but the majority of those guys have been together. I don't know that. I don't know if their team was as impacted by the transfer portal as some other teams were this year. But it's difficult to overcome that kind of experience. And we've seen this, for a number of years. John Calipari, Kentucky, was criticized because he didn't win at all. Well, he had a great deal of talent, but they were freshmen. And you playing against 23, 24, 25-year-olds, you can be as talented as Zion Williamson. But you go up against, Zion was 18, 19 years old. He going up against grown men.
Right.
And so more often than not, experience along with talent is going to trump talent without experience.
Good point. Good point. Kelvin, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna shift gears and talk Rattler basketball, and but I'm gonna tie it in a little bit. So right now we have a couple of guys that I think I said threw their name into the transfer portal, who started for us this year. Just talk about how this was a new team. Like nine new players this year. So kind of talk about roster management with the rules the way they are now. You mentioned NIL, you mentioned the transfer portal. Talk about your approach to roster management and you know why what was the challenge for this season? Why it just didn't seem to click this year for this particular team?
Those are very good questions, Kelvin. And I don't know if you realize it, but there's one word that you mentioned twice, and I'll say, invariably, fans, boosters, various media outlets, you hear even immediately after the game, well, so and so got out coached, he got out coached, she got out coached, so and so can't coach. All year long, Calipari can't coach. So you think John Calipari just forgot how to coach? Well, so where I'm going with this, managing, you mentioned management. Being able to manage your team manage your program has never been more important than it is now. There's all of these issues we're talking about, transfer portal, NIL, the impact of COVID is still being felt. Then just all of the noise and the voices that young men are hearing constantly. Being able to manage your team is Again, it's never been more important. So I knew going in this would be our most challenging year, our most challenging team. For an example, and the coaches have a chance to vote where they think their teams will finish, and I I picked our team to finish 8th. I've never picked our team that low, including my very first year here. My first year here, I think we were picked 11th. I picked us 7th. We finished 7th. But I told our staff all along, if we finish 8th, it'll be a good year. Just before we ever tipped it up. So I knew not only 9 new players, but I could see there were some issues on the horizon that we would need to be able to overcome and conquer. And unfortunately, we did not. And so, regardless of you could not have size or not have a good inside game or so forth. You've got to have good guard play. That's an absolute must.
Yeah.
And you need to have some pretty good leadership. And so we did not have the chemistry, Kelvin, that because of how close you were to the program for a couple of years. Win, lose, draw, you couldn't question our chemistry. You couldn't question the culture that we've established. And so the 3 or 4 guys that returned from the previous year's team, their role on that team wasn't such that it gave them the confidence they needed, or they felt secure enough to have a voice, to stand up and say, okay, now this is my team, this is our team. Hey, we don't do that at FAMU. We don't tolerate that. This is what we do at FAMU. So, and then one of the returning players redshirted the previous year. So we lost our top 7 players, top 7, 8 players from the previous year. And so all of those things factored in. And there were every now and then we show glimpses that, hey, we've got a chance to turn the corner. Winning at Texas Southern was huge. They was the first game. They get all of the guys back they suffered from a number of injuries during the course of the year. To win at Texas Southern was a big feat. We go to shoot around the next day. You're not going to do much between a Saturday and Monday game. I said to the staff, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. You would have thought we'd won the SWAC championship. And we go out on Monday against Prairie View and get beat by 30. Then you saw we rebounded, we came back, swept the Alabama schools. Tough win at Alabama State, just secured the win, going 8 for 8 in the last 3 minutes from the free throw line. And then going up on Monday night, HBCU, Go TV, and played our best game of the year against a very talented Alabama A&M team. And I think a lot of people, a lot of fans, alums were really, really encouraged after that. And then we come back home against Grambling and Southern and just don't look anything like the team that the fans had just saw play the previous week. So it was a lack of chemistry and just inconsistency across the board.
Marcus, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Coach.
I'll just sort of tread lightly here, but we anticipated having some guys to put their names in the transfer portal. There were, a few that we were going to direct them or say, you need to put your name in the portal. So it works both ways. And the bulk of our recruiting right now is the transfer portal. And I don't know if you all remember, I talked, I think the last time I was on the show, just about a high school player we had coming in, KJ Parker from Winter Haven. He lived
Right.
up to the building, and his team lost to a team that's considered was the most talented in the state. The team that had Boozer that played for Duke and played in the NBA for 12 years or so. They lost to that team out of Miami by 2 points. But we're talking about a young man who's a starting point guard on a state championship team with Bartow 2 years ago. He averaged 14 a game. And he had a great year this year, just an outstanding year. So we get in a young man that's state runner-up, state championship. And so aside from him, the remainder of the class would be, possible, maybe a JUCO player or two, but 2 or 3 players from the portal.
Okay.
Go ahead, Marcus.
All right, good evening, Coach. I guess my question is along a similar vein as Kelvin. And you mentioned earlier, and we've noted for this year, actually, I have a double question, kind of related, but we've noted that some of the older teams, the continuity that they had kind of buoyed their performance and allowed them to go deep into the NCAA tournament for those that made it. So, what can we do in order to have that same level of continuity? You've mentioned the transfer portal people coming in, coming out, and based on the 2021-2022 team, where we had a lot of senior leadership leave, what can we do and where can we go to make sure that we have some continuity and not have as much churn as we've seen the last couple of seasons?
That's a very good question. I want to answer that in reverse order. Not just for our program, but throughout college basketball, you're going to see a lot of turnover going forward. Most coaches are kind of going to recruit with a 2-year window. So if you have them for 2 years, great. That's the landscape of college basketball going forward for the foreseeable future because of the transfer portal, NIL opportunities, all of that go hand in hand. Now the impact of COVID, that's for those players who entered college by 2020. So if you came after 2020, then COVID's not, you don't benefit. You don't get that extra year. So I want to make sure that we're on the same page with that. So if you entered college in 2021, you don't get an extra year. So you're right. The 21-22 team was a team with 7 seniors. The downside of that team, we were really impacted by COVID. We were impacted by COVID, and which caused some issues socially and academically, whereby we did not have our full roster until the last 3 games of the year. So you may remember we felt Jalen Spear. We thought in a normal year he would have been the MEAC Freshman of the Year. I say normal year. But if you recall, because of COVID, they split us into 2 divisions. And so we only played the North Carolina schools, South Carolina State. Bethune chose not to play that year. And Jalen Spear had an unbelievable year. And so because we didn't play the other half of the conference teams, Norfolk State, Morgan State, Delaware State, Maryland Eastern Shore, Howard, they didn't see him. Well, just some issues that wasn't handled in a timely fashion. He wasn't cleared to play until late. And so because he wasn't cleared, he missed 15 conference games. And you're talking about an outstanding offensive player. So that was a big loss to to a veteran team. But that team had 7 seniors, 3 fifth-year guys, along with MJ Randolph, who was in his 4th year in school. So what we saw teams do this year, that's what that team did. One of the things I think will help sort of get us kind of back closer there is we're bringing in older players. One, we're bringing in older players. Two, the core group of our returnees are a little older. For example, Jalen Bates, very talented player. Jalen didn't have a great year, but a good year. It was 9 points, 7 rebounds, and he had just so many spectacular plays, just, where he gets the crowd on their feet. All right, Jalen is coming back. Jalen will benefit from COVID. He'll come back as a 5th-year player, and he'll have an outstanding year. You can count on that. And he'll be surrounded by an older group of players, more experienced group of players. And so that's why we'll rely heavily on the transfer portal. Now, I don't want to get too deep into this, but we are hopeful that we'll be able to overcome. We're not where we need to be from an NIL standpoint. And about a month and a half ago, the state of Florida, the legislation they passed is great for the Florida schools. They just sort of open it up. And so there's so many opportunities, so many things that you can do and it's a state by state thing. The other states can't do. And so we already benefited from being in the state of Florida from the standpoint, of no state taxes. So unlike, student athletes in some states will have to, ante up, on taxes. But so hopefully we can position ourselves somehow where we need to be able to do that sooner rather than later. And so that's a hurdle that hopefully we'll be able to cross here in the very near future.
Hey, Coach, we've got. You've been very gracious with your time tonight. I don't know if you're out on the recruiting trail the weekend of the spring game, but if you're in Tallahassee, we're planning on being in Tallahassee doing some live stuff. Hopefully we can, because I feel like there's like a part 2 and a part 3 that we gotta have with you. Time is short tonight, but if you're not on the recruiting trail and if you're in Tally, let's get together and let's talk more, because I know there's a lot more to talk about. And like I said, you've been gracious with your time tonight, so we can we'll try to set that up. I want to give you any last words quickly that you want to share with us before we get ready to head to break.
Yeah, I'll just say that yes. So when you come back from doing the Final Four, the convention, so that period's a dead period. So from like a Wednesday a week ago, all the way to noon tomorrow. So I'm hitting the road tomorrow morning. Okay. So yes, but the spring weekend you mentioned, that's a huge weekend for us. So you're likely to see some tall timber on campus that weekend. So we're really again, that's going to be a huge weekend for us. But so yeah, I'll be around, and again, I appreciate you guys. I can't end the show without just again my how much I was saddened by the loss of Kofi, and I know I'd be remiss if I did not mention that, just from the time I was hired, just his warmth, not only his support, but just his warmth and enthusiasm. And I can't tell you, whenever I saw him, he made me smile.
Yep.
And I can't think of a better way to end the show.
Coach, we
Thank you,
appreciate your
Coach.
time tonight. Coach, if you're in Orlando, please look me up. Kelvin, make sure you get my number. If you're coming to Orlando, Coach, look me up.
Okay,
I'm just
sounds
gonna
good.
say that. I'm just gonna say that.
Hey,
We
Coach.
got some boys,
Hey,
Coach. We got
Coach.
some boys, Coach.
Coach.
I got some
Coach.
boys
You know
for
where
you.
you coach at?
No,
Coach McCullum. You know where you coach at?
no.
Orlando
Tell him,
Christian
Brian.
Prep, Coach. Orlando Christian Prep,
Where?
Coach. Orlando Christian
Oh,
Prep. OCP. OCP,
I know about
Coach.
OCP.
I
Hey,
know. I
hey,
know
how
you
about
know.
this? How about this? The very first time I laid eyes on MJ Randolph, it was
Uh
at an
huh.
event at OCP.
There you go. There you go. Come on,
Yeah.
Coach. Come on down. Come on down. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. I
Now
got you,
look,
Coach.
hey, here's the last thing I'll say. You
Yes,
know,
sir. Yes,
when
sir.
players leave OCP and things don't work out, they go into the transfer portal. You feel
Yes,
me?
sir. I got you. I understand. I
So
understand.
I can go to OCP indirectly without having to be in Orlando, but I'm still at OCP.
I got you. I got you. I got you,
Okay,
Coach.
okay,
I got you. All right. Hey,
okay.
Coach McCullum. Hey, we'll talk and be safe on the road. You and your coaching staff, and hopefully we get a
Yeah.
chance to talk at the spring game. All right, Coach.
Sounds good. Hey guys,
All
thanks
right.
so much for having
Yes,
Well,
sir.
thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you, Coach.
me. Okay,
All right. Let's
thanks so
take a
much.
break. Come back. We got Coach Nikki on the other side of this break. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Nope, not going in. Not gonna drown today.
Fixing your credit score can be scary, but with Credit Versio, we take the fear out of it.
Okay, you can do this. Be brave. Don't cry again. Hey, this isn't too bad.
Credit Versio helps dispute negative marks on your credit using our state-of-the-art technology that guides you every step of the way. It's never been easier to fix your credit and increase your credit score. Seriously, you can do this. Visit creditversio.com right now to get started.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, Marcus, and joining us is our head coach, director of tennis for our women's tennis program, Coach Nikki. Coach, pleasure to have you on. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Hey, look, it's an honor to have you on. We've been sort of sitting back and watching this team this year, and I think a lot of we'll get into talking about it because I think let me just start here. I'll start here. We're sitting now as the 1 seed going into the SWAC tournament. We are one game officially from claiming the outright regular season SWAC title. Um, has this team surprised you? Are they ahead of schedule? You know, people like to use that word with young teams. They say, "Oh, they're ahead of schedule." Has this team surprised you? And if they have surprised you, where do you feel like they turned the corner in terms of their growth as players?
Yeah, we are a very young team. We have three freshmen, three sophomores, and a junior and senior. So this crew has came in and done a lot of good things early. Just when we start playing the tough competition early in the season, it just kind of surprised of how competitive we are with the other teams. And I think when we kind of turned the corner, when we was at the SWAC roundup, our second one, and in Montgomery, we had an issue where one of the girls had an allergic reaction, and it was right 10 minutes right before we were supposed to play, and the girls surrounded her, and girls got on the court and really kind of stepped up and played and showed like all the competition wise of how competitive we're going to be, regardless if we had one of our players down or not. We're going to step up to the plate.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
So, has your approach changed with having such a young team, and how do you keep them grounded and level? With all the early success. When I look at the SWAC competition specifically, I think you swept most of them outside of Jackson State and one other program. So how do you keep them hungry? Do you do anything different as far as managing them? And how do you finish out strong?
Well, that's one of the things we kind of set the goals early in the season of what we're trying to accomplish, and each time that we accomplish those goals, we set another one. We set another one, and we always talk about making sure we do the little things, regardless of how well we're playing, regardless of how well we're doing within the season. We have to still focus on the little things, and each day in practice, we're trying to get better 1% at a time. And that has never changed. You have that foundation of we want to continuously get better. And even though we have been very successful this semester, we still haven't finished or accomplished our ultimate goal. And, that's bringing that trophy back here to the Hill. So until we do that, we haven't really accomplished anything yet. We just want to make sure we keep continuously keeping our head down, hard work, keep being hungry in everything that we're doing, because you try for that perfection, and until you feel like you have that, you perfected it, you just continuously keep working.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Yes. Good evening, Coach. I guess my
Good
question.
evening.
I noticed that there are at least two players from the greater Greensboro area or North Carolina, and I was wondering, as it relates to the recruitment of student athletes for the tennis program, how, and as far as the reach for FAMU and the attraction of the program, and if any impact that NIL has happened to have had in terms of being able to, or if that's a concern or any challenge that you may look towards going forward that you have to contend with recruiting folks to your tennis program.
As of right now, that hasn't been an issue with the NILs. I think the young ladies are looking for a good tennis program, looking for the best university. I know you mentioned the two young ladies out of North Carolina. They've been around that area of the A&T and Central. Is kind of their background. But both of them wanted to get out the state, so I was kind of in that same kind of thing when I was getting recruited, coming into FAM. I was from Nashville, Tennessee, and Tennessee State. I've been around my whole life, but I was trying to get out the state of Tennessee. So sometimes young ladies are just looking for good programs that has a great university, and we have both. And I think as we continue to get better and succeed with the young ladies that we have on the team now, I think the opportunity for recruits to continuously look at FAMU is on their radar.
Okay. Just a quick follow up on that. You mentioned earlier that you had one senior. So with the team that you have now, are you pretty much set for even I'm not looking too far ahead? You still have work to do for this year, but are you pretty much set for 23, 24? Or are you still looking to bring in some
I'm
folks?
Yes, I do have a graduate senior. She graduate. She's in her master's degree right now, so she a fifth year. But I am looking still for one. We're really narrowing it down to one of the recruits, but we're still kind of looking. We're not going to turn away because you never know. Serena might be around the door, so we're going to continuously keep looking for this year and for next year because we only have one for next year as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Uh, Coach, talk a little bit about I think what's always interesting with some of our programs is how well we do within the SWAC. We love to dominate our conference. And then when we're out of conference, we see the challenges that I don't know if it's youth or maybe something different. Talk a little bit about the difference between the conference and non-conference, and how far away do you think we are, or what is it going to take for that next step, which I think is being totally dominant in a week, not only winning those conference games, but those midweek games as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, our ultimate goal is not just the win and swag, but definitely to be very competitive with our non-conference matches. And I think it's for this team, being young and seeing the different levels. Sometimes it kind of takes them off guard, but they know now what they're expecting for that next year coming up. But we've been competitive with every match that we've played. I mean, it could have been a point here, a point there. It could have been a doubles match there that we should have taken and won, and it could change a whole outcome of the rest of the match. So I think we surprised a lot of teams out of conference, and they are going to be looking at us for next year. But I think our girls are going to be more prepared for next year when we play the out of conference. And again, we love playing those schools because it's going to just keep them continuously make us tougher for our conference matches.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
Coach, unfortunately, we lost a member of our team here. I know you know him pretty well too. Just kind of give us just your thoughts and comments on Kofi.
Yeah, Kofi. I mean, I've known Kofi since I was a junior playing tennis. His brother played tennis out of Atlanta area. When I was,
Mm-hmm.
my dad had ran a camp out of Nashville, Tennessee, and we used to always come down to Sugar Creek and play them. So I've known Kofi when I was, playing back in the day. And as soon as I got on campus, he was like, "Hey, Nikki, I see you out here." He tried to get out there, hit a couple tennis balls, try to get his daughters out there. So he was definitely involved with tennis. He enjoys tennis. His family always enjoyed playing tennis. So I was disheartened when I heard the news. I just couldn't believe it because he was a bright light. He always had that energy. Every time you saw him, he always asked about how the program's doing, how he can help. So he is definitely going to be dearly missed. And he definitely was saddened about it.
Go ahead,
Okay, now
Marcus.
the follow.
Oh, sorry.
No, I got one. I got one follow up.
For sure.
So and this is regarding um your approach. First of all, is the team healthy, relatively speaking, as we go looking to finish up? And do I know we got a mid week game at some point with well, it's that one on Saturday actually against Florida State, but do you approach that any differently in terms of thinking about injuries or anything, or do you just go and compete and the cards kind of fall where they fall? And what will it take for us to win the SWAC tournament?
Okay, you asked a whole lot of questions in when that one question, but what you just stated. I'll start with the first one. It's getting towards the end of the season, and a lot of girls, have nagging injuries. I mean, we're athletes; we go and play with them. But I think, going into Florida State we approach it the same. We're getting prepared for another team, or we're getting prepared to try to win a match. And, that's how we're going to continuously approach each match that we play. And then going into just making sure we're practicing each and every day and getting better. Like I said before, with that 1%, make sure we perform each and every day. I think we'll continue. We'll keep getting better as we play in Florida State. Then we play on Tuesday against Prairie View in New Orleans, and then we go back to New Orleans that following week to play in the SWAC tournament. These young ladies are focused. They are hungry. They can't wait to get to that conference tournament, and anybody that's in their way, we're going to try to look to win. Hopefully that answered all your questions.
Yes, you did a great job. Great job.
Go ahead, Marcus, jump in there.
Yes, a quick question for you, Coach. As it relates to the success that you're having this year, what can we do to carry that momentum going forward and have more consistent presence as it relates to fan support and just overall university support for your team?
Yes, I think just getting out there and supporting us when we have home matches or even away matches. If we're in your city, please come out and support us. I think that goes a long way when we have a crowd that's cheering, even if you don't know tennis. Just having a face out there that has orange and green goes a long way with these young ladies. And, when they see that we're representing more than just themselves, I think that it helps them become better players and continues to become a better Rattler as they play.
Thank you, Coach.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask before we let you go. Got to ask about Sarah, and I want to make sure I say her last name. Is it Rakim?
Rakim. Mm-hmm.
Okay. She was the two-time, I believe, maybe back to back. I know she just recently won SWAC Player of the Week. Might even have been the second week where she was and she went 2-0 in singles, 1-0 in doubles. And I was looking at the stats, and if I'm reading the stats correctly, she's slated as your number 3. So she's like unbeaten as the number 3, like 2-1 as the 2, and then she's like unbeaten in doubles. Talk a little bit about, her and maybe, I'm sure there's a couple other young ladies there who have got some nice winning streaks, but since Sarah's got that, kind of got a nice run going, talk a little bit about her and some of her strengths and what she brings to the court.
Yeah, so Sarah Rakim, she is from Morocco. Excuse me, just lost it right there. But she's from Morocco, and she is very feisty player. She's a very feisty player. She gets a lot of balls in. She makes sure that she's hitting one more ball than the other person. And she's been doing well recently, definitely in singles. I think it's just the confidence. The more that you play, the more you get to get those wins on your belt, you get more confident with your game. And I think that has helped her this year as a sophomore. She's a transfer, and she's been doing a really good job of trying to get better with different parts of her game that she didn't have before. And in doubles, she's playing with a Sierra Sandy out of Virginia, and those two and their combination goes really well. And with their chemistry and how they play well together has helped her become a better doubles player.
I'm just curious, how do you do the doubles combinations, do they kind of organically find themselves, or do you pair them? How does that work? Talk people through how the doubles partners come to be.
Yeah, so with our doubles, in the fall, we kind of just kept mixing around each person. Like, let me see them play together. Let me see them play together. And then the ones that we see that looks like they will be a good match together, whether it's they play well from the baseline and this player plays well at the net, and let's try this combination, or do both these players play well at the net? Let's put these two together. So we just keep moving them around. and play them with different partners and see which one will kind of work together. And we kind of find a good gem between Sarah and Sierra.
Yeah, that's just not the only good gym, Cole. I mean, every doubles. When I'm looking at the stats, every doubles pairing is like you have found the. It's like you solved the Rubik's cube. I mean, you got all the colors the same on each side. You guys did a pretty good job putting this group doubles together.
Yeah, we kind of focus like 2 out of 3 days out the week only on doubles. And me being a player who loves the net, I kind of emphasize that I kind of love doubles. So we kind of emphasize it. And again, like I said, we could keep playing partners together and see which one paired well together. And then when you're playing against each other, you only get better when you play against each other. So we continuously play against each other. We continue to work hard and try to compete against each other. And that's kind of how our doubles has been doing pretty well throughout the season.
And just so people know, pretty well means 14-1. Just looking at the stats, that pretty well. That's like a 93 win percentage, 14-1. So you want to know where we keep, winning. I mean, thank goodness our doubles combinations are practically unbeaten. So props to you and props to the ladies for finding that right combination together. Marcus, Kelvin, any final questions you want to get in there with Coach while we got her?
Coach, I know you was recovering a while ago, but I was just wondering how much are you back out there playing now? Some
Uh,
recreationally?
well, I try to get out and hit, when we're doing our individual practice, but by 2 or 3 balls, I'm coming back off to the sideline. I'm done. I'm done right now. But um, sometimes when, we playing doubles, I get out there and play with them because, they get a little feisty. I be trying to coach sometimes. I be trying to be like that. But I try to watch what I do because I ain't trying to pull nothing. I ain't trying to pull nothing.
That's that's right, Coach. That's right. We don't need you bagging no cats.
Coach,
No,
have,
no,
have you
no. We don't need that.
have you graduated to pickleball yet? I feel like that's like the
I
next
have
level yet.
not. I
No?
have not. And a lot of people is you got to try pickleball. I'm like, I ain't there yet. I'm not there yet.
All right. All right. I'm not there either. I keep seeing it every time I walk by courts, and I mean it's like all the rage now. So I don't know if it's picked up in Tallahassee or not, but
It has taken over the tennis facilities for sure.
all right, all right. Coach, any plugs? I'm gonna give you the last word. Let I can't get it out. Rattler Nation know anything that we need to be aware of. How can we support the program? I want to give you the last word here.
Yes. Thank you again for let me come on the show and talk about the tennis team. We do play this Saturday against Florida State at 4 p.m. So if you're in the area, please come out and support. And next Tuesday, we'll be in New Orleans playing against Prairie View, our last SWAC match. And then if you are in New Orleans, April the 21st through the 23rd, that is the SWAC tournament. We will start play on April the 22nd, that Saturday, and hopefully, all God, Lord willing, we do what we need to do and bring back that trophy back to that ring, that ring,
That's right.
that
That's
ring back
right.
to the hill, definitely.
Well, yeah, much success this weekend, and this weekend's match against Florida State is over at their facilities or
Yes,
ours.
it's
Okay,
yeah, it's over at their facility.
okay, all right. And then Tuesday we're in New Orleans. So
Mhm.
any of our Bayou Rattlers, what do we know what time that is on that
Yeah,
Tuesday?
we're playing at 11 a.m. at Xavier University.
All right, all right, all right. So just take the morning off, Rattler Nation. Take the morning off. It's a day after Good Monday, so no one will miss you. Just go ahead and take the day off. Get out there and go support because we gotta celebrate a regular season title on Tuesday, but we gotta take
Absolutely.
care of business on Saturday. Hey, Coach Nikki, thank you for your time. We look forward to talking
Thank you.
again after we've won a SWAC conference championship. We'll talk again, most definitely. So good luck to you, the ladies. Be well, be safe, and thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Go Rattlers.
All
All
right.
right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Hey, let's take a
Thank you.
short break. Come back. We got a lot to recap on the other side. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplify Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplify Development Services.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
All right, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. I'm Brian. That's Kelvin and Marcus there. And all right, folks. Yeah, we got a lot to recap on. I know you guys, especially you guys in the chat room, are buzzing right now after the interview with Coach McCullum. We've also great interview with Coach Nikki there. Again, we were just talking for a second, guys. I mean, spring is looking real fruitful right now. I mean, we've got, obviously, tennis is practically on the verge of giving us our second SWAC regular season championship after what volleyball did. They're the 1 seed going into the tournament. And then we've got softball, which swept Valley over the weekend. They are tied for first place in the conference right now. I think at 8-4, I think it is, or something like that. Who were they tied
That's
with?
correct.
I put it in. Who were they tied with there?
Both baseball. Interesting. Both baseball and softball. The same three teams are tied: Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman and FAMU.
Wow. Okay. Okay. On all three. So that's important to know. And the sort of the scary part about this and what the let me rephrase that. The challenging part for softball, we lost 2 out of 3 to Bethune at home. We went on the road and lost 2 out of 3 to Alabama State. So we're going to get to flip those. Those are going to be important turnarounds where we need to win 2 out of 3 when we go to Bethune, and we need to win 2 out of 3 when we host Alabama State. And we need more sweeps over A&M, Jackson State, and Mississippi Valley. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we gotta beat up on the other 3, and then we need to get some 2 out of 3 wins. They played today. For those of you who might have missed it, they played Jacksonville University today. Lost by
yesterday.
1 run. Oh, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was today. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was 6-5. I think when I was looking at the notes, we out hit Jacksonville, but we left some people on the base pads, and so one run game could have gone. You can look at any one particular inning in terms of where that game
has some errors.
Yeah, where we kind of flubbed that game. Um, but I like I like the fight. I like the fight that we're fighting in these midweek games. Baseball, look, we lost 2 out of 3 at Bethune. We won I thought after winning game 1, which was a really exciting game. I don't know, did any of you guys stay up? Obviously, that was the
I did.
Friday night. You did. I
Yeah.
stayed up and
Hmm.
Yeah, I
watched it
watched
too.
it.
And I'm
Yeah.
watching that on one TV, and I'm watching the women's Final Four on another TV. So I mean, literally, I had the baseball game on the big TV, but that one was a heck of a game. Hunter Veets against Bethune's top pitcher. I think it was a Joseph Perini 2-run homer that kind of
Mm-hmm.
separated things a little bit in the top of the 8th. And then I don't know what happened in the next 2 games, guys. I mean, we lost 9-2 and then 6-3, and then we had the another midweek collapse, and now I don't know what to make of. I don't know what to make of this baseball team. Is it just the pitching? I mean, what? Why? I don't know. What are you seeing?
Well, Hunter Beats is clearly our number one. Now, I'm not
Oh
sure to
no,
what
sure, for sure.
degree. I'm not sure, in terms of a stable of. I mean, I don't know any team other than MLB that has like a stable of number ones, but it just seems if we had that second pitcher, and I think Veets might be in his last year as well. If we had that second pitcher that could get us at least, in the set game 2 over that hump, that might be the key to turning things and having some really, really good series.
I think last year we had a good 1, 2, 3. Like I think the 2 guys that were pitching alongside Veets on a conference weekend, we were pretty good. I mean, at least they had a better start to the season than. No, you disagree? What I miss?
Yeah, we're a much better hitting team this year.
Okay.
Pitching wise, I don't think we significantly different from last year's team. This team is just a much better hitting team, and you got to remember we're 8-4 within conference, and and we're almost 500. Including the out of conference game. And we've given away a lot of games we should have won, like the Grambling game where we was up 12-0, and then the whole Eastern Illinois, the first game of the series, we were in the lead 2 out of those 3 games, and then led in all 3 at one point, and then didn't win any of them. So I would say the big thing for this team is 2 things that I've noticed. Not to get behind early. When we jump on teams, we usually stay ahead, right? So we need our pitching to hold up our offense to get us off to a good start. And then we need a little bit more strength in our bullpen consistency. Let's put it that way. Where when we have leads, we can hold on to them. Now in the series against Bethune, I watched the other games too a little bit, and both of those games Saturday and Sunday, we fell behind early. You know, not too bad. We were only giving up four runs or 5 runs within the first 4 or 5 innings, but we were playing from behind, and our bats didn't come through as much. Those last 2 games. See, and it happens. That's baseball. So I still like where we at. We still got a lot of home games left. We still got a lot of teams to play that we should be able to pad our and build up our confidence on. So, um, the East is better than the West by far in baseball and
Oh,
softball. It's loaded. It's coming down again to one of the big 3 in the East: Alabama State or Bethune or us. I think in baseball, I'm surprised at Southern right now. They're really struggling on the West. They were the preseason pick to win the conference, and they're almost in last place if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I just happened to be. I just bumped over and take a look at the BCSN ratings, which are computer-based ratings. Outside of Grambling State over in the West, yeah, everybody else, even though records may be inflated, like you got Prairie View, they're 7-2 in conference, but I mean they're like 9-19 overall. Texas
Right.
Southern, I mean, a bit of an inflated record based on who they played.
Right.
Jackson State even. I mean, 16-9, but they're
Right.
3-6 in conference play. Speaking of which, this series this weekend against Jackson State, there was a schedule update.
Big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that series is now a home series this weekend. So instead of the fellas getting on the road and traveling to Jackson, Mississippi, that series will be home. That is huge right now. We need
Right.
that confidence boost. So, want to encourage you guys who are in Tallahassee, or maybe you're going to Tallahassee for Easter weekend. If you can make it over to the game this weekend, I don't know if they're playing double header any particular day, or even if they're going to play Sunday. But whatever. I'm sure check the website, FAMUathletics.com. But that series is a home series against Jackson State. That's going to be a big series for us, especially with two other teams tied in first place. Softball is on the road at Alabama A&M this weekend, and so that's I'm not going to quite call it a get right opportunity, because Alabama A&M is only like 2 games behind the group of 3 that are in first place, tied for first. So we got to still handle business on the road. And
Hmm.
it doesn't feel like, is it me, or does it feel like, I can't, it doesn't feel like the softball team has been on the road a lot lately. It feels like they've been in Florida for a minute. So this this is a good opportunity to kind of challenge themselves out on the road, and find out what kind of maturity they have, because they've done a lot of winning over the last couple weeks at home or in
Well,
the
they
state.
they alternated.
Well,
They've
yeah, I think
alternated
it's
because they were home against Bethune, then they were away
Alabama
Okay.
against
State,
Alabama State, and then they
Oh,
were
okay.
but it's
home against
regionally
Valley.
friendly. It's
Yeah.
all
Okay.
regionally
Then
friendly,
maybe
so it doesn't seem like they're
that's,
going far away.
I got you. I got you. I got you. Okay. So that's the 3-game series for Alabama. And just a quick mention. Let's talk quickly. And Roy, I know he put the graphics up earlier. Let's make mention of our SWAC Players of the Week. It's been a good week for 4 different programs. I think over
Yeah.
since Friday. Friday
Track
to
two.
Friday today, we've had 4 uh, Rattlers in 4 different sports with the Players of the Week. We had let's see,
Golf.
let me go to we had golf. So we had Jacob Uyesato was the golfer of the week. Of course, we had Sarah Rakim, who was the player of the week for tennis.
Track.
What were those stats for golf? I think Jacob shot like a 3 under. It might have been the lone bright spot of that entire tournament for us.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. I think his overall was a 3 under out in the tournament in California.
yeah. And then we had the track athlete of the week in Lauren Hall. That was on Friday, where she was the track athlete of the week. And then from over the weekend, Lauren Peppers was the pitcher of the week. 2 wins, 15 strikeouts. On base average of opponents batting average rather was 149. So I'm loving the domination by our teams and our programs right now in the spring. I mean, we
Hmm.
you know,
I mean,
and
bowling.
that's
Bowling finished
yeah.
up third.
Bowling finished up strong. We finished third, exactly. Great point. And baseball. We've had a couple guys be the pitcher of the week and the hitters of the week.
Theater.
So I mean, this is about as good a spring in the SWAC as
Collectively. Yes.
collectively, and we might get a couple of titles, not just one that we're on the verge of winning. We are in play for a couple of them, and I can just hear Kofi in the background talking about we need to win championships. When was the last time we won championships? I can hear it. I can hear his voice talking about we need to win championships. And so
that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. Win championships, anything let me update upcoming events here again. Mentioned baseball, mentioned softball. We are aware that tennis, track, men and women's track, they are in the Alice Coachman Invitational, which is on the campus of Albany State. So for you Georgia, mid Georgia, is that what they call it? Middle Georgia? What they call that?
Yeah,
middle Georgia.
Yes.
Yes. So for the middle Georgia Rattlers or anybody who's close, if you want to get up to Albany State and support, that'll be a good invitational to go to. Golf is traveling up to Nashville to play in the Big Blue Intercollegiate. Tennessee State is hosting that. So that is where golf will be. So everybody who's playing track, baseball, softball, tennis, golf, all busy this weekend, all doing something, and that's a good thing. Spring football just announced, as it relates to the spring football game, just announced that there will be a $15 admission charge to go to the spring game. And I did reach out to Josh Padilla to kind of get some clarification, because remember, in the 220 club at that point in time, we didn't think that we could charge because you had to have some other activities. Well, I was informed from Josh, our sports information director, that there were some changes to the law recently that open it up for us to charge. So I mean, let's just do the math here. $15 a pop. If we can get 10,000, because how many there was at least 10,000 last year's spring game easily. I'd say 9, maybe 10 conservative, right?
I think you might have. I think you might be a little inflated.
But look, there was only one. but there was only one side. Remember, there was one side, and I mean, it was practically filled. So I'll go 7. I'll say conservatively 7.
Okay.
But
I think that's a good. That might be a decent number.
All right, so now we have a full stadium where you potentially, if they open up both sides, which they should, hopefully, FAMU Athletics, please don't just have one side. Both sides.
It's gonna be one side. Hey, Brian, let me help you out here. So you.
Oh my God!
It's gonna
go ahead.
It's gonna be one side. It's gonna be one side, and you're not gonna have 10,000 there. It would be lovely to have what that happen, but that'd be unprecedented. Let's put it that way. And But
that's
the
where
ONG strike zone.
That's where we need to be. That's where we need to be. We need to be encouraging and telling people that you need to be there. We need to have 10,000. 10,000 is a minimum that should be at a spring football game. Given what this team potentially could look like, you need to go see it for yourself, Rattler Nation. You need to go see what this team is. Now's the time to support. Get on board now.
The ONG strike zone will be there.
We will be there. I'm working the back channels, trying to see if I can get us set up somewhere, so that we can do some stuff before and after. I think they are streaming the game on Facebook Live on the athletic page. I did hear Coach Simmons say the draft for the orange and green game is actually next Wednesday before our show. So it's going to be at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be 6 o'clock next Wednesday when they will do the draft. which was real popular, real successful. Let's just hope they don't draft all the quarterbacks to one side again, or at least there's a 2 quarterback max. Hopefully they put some new rules. Yeah, Edwin Moore. Edwin Moore is doing math. See, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. $15 a pop. I was saying 10, Edwin. I'm like 10,000. That's
That's
150
that's what it.
G's.
Hey, that's what it is across the tracks. By the way,
What's that? 15?
10.
$10?
Yeah.
Look, 15. Let's just hope they have concessions open. Have the concession stands open. This is a great opportunity. This is the first big, I'm gonna say it, first big fundraising opportunity under AD Sykes. So here you go. Let's make this count. We need 10,000. We need 10,000. Anything less than 10,000 is unacceptable, in my opinion, Rattler Nation. I'm just gonna put it out there.
We got a lot of pro talent. We got a lot of pro
Yes.
talent. We got a good staff. So it should be exciting. It should be a show to see. So I absolutely want us to be enthusiastic and to make that investment. I know it is an investment. I know it's a preseason game, but it's important that we support these things in numbers.
And after you see the game, you'll want to go buy season tickets. You should go buy season tickets. That weekend, I think, who's playing in town that week? I know softball is playing in town that weekend. I think baseball is on the road, but I'm pretty sure softball is in town.
Yeah,
So
baseball on the road. They're in Huntsville against
baseball's
Alabama.
up in Huntsville. Okay. So I know softball will be in town. So there's a great opportunity, great fundraising opportunity. We could raise 150 G's just on attendance alone. 10,000 people, Rattler Nation, 10,000. I'm just saying, 10,000. $15 is nothing. You put that up, go watch this spring game, and then get ready. Get ready. Go buy your season packages. I know you can still save some money on the Investing in Champions package prior to April 15th. I think there's still 10% that you can get off. I think the
Mhm.
deal goes away on the Saturday. So you got until like Friday. If I heard AD Sykes right, you have up until Friday before the spring game to save 10%
The
on the
paid in
Investing in
full.
paid in full. No, I thought she was doing also some what is it, direct deposit,
They
or what do you call it? The
yeah
pay in
yeah
advance
yeah yeah. You can
Payroll
pay.
deduction.
payroll deduction.
You can
Thank you.
do the payroll deduction, but I believe to have the 10%, you might have to have paid that payroll deduction in full by the 15th.
Okay. All
All
right.
it's saying on the website is that the early bird special for the green, orange, and champion package is available until April 15th, 2023.
Yeah. Um. All right.
Now,
Before
Brian,
we,
to your point,
yeah, yeah.
oh,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, just continue on football. I didn't get a chance to watch the 220 Club this week for today, but last week I was watching the segment on Coach Simmons, and I think someone asked a question as it relates to what's going to happen after the spring game, and he did mention that they're reserving some spots, for post,
I heard
shall we
that.
say, I guess. Well, yeah, the transfer portal, they've fashioned it now where you have two windows. We've experienced the first window in December. I guess it was maybe a 30-day window or 45-day window from mid-December to early January. And then they're opening another 2-week window, I believe, after spring practices. And so he did mention, not anyone by name, of course, he can't do that, but mentioned that they will be looking to add to the roster post spring games for that second transfer portal window. And we've seen some offers that have come out this week.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's going to be some visitors. I mean, we've already seen, and I know Marcus, you track all of that stuff as well. There's always a lot of visitors. There's going to be a nice contingent of guys, potential recruits that
Mhm.
will be in attendance at the spring game, and that's another reason why I said open up both sides. I mean, I want recruits to get an idea of seeing both sides. So hopefully it happens. I'm a wishful thinker, and so yeah, that'll be Well, I would encourage you guys. I don't know those of you who have the pay-per-view or the pay-per-read articles on the Tallahassee Democrat with Gerald Thomas doing a great job of covering spring practices. And I know, so we're about day 10. We're coming up on the final weeks. I think they may have a scrimmage this weekend, which will probably be the last real scrimmage. Coach has kind of hinted at the one for the orange and green game being very vanilla. So, this weekend scrimmage will be probably the harder hitting one. I would guesstimate. So yeah, something to think about. Anything else regarding football that you guys want to hit on for a moment?
I'll just speak to some of the reports out there. I think Coach kind of gave uh, over the last week, he's given a couple of highlights about what he sees out there, and to nobody's surprise, I don't think the defense looks good and is ahead of schedule. Um, Not only with our returning leaders on that team, with Stevens and the linebacker core, but we mentioned some names we thought that would potentially pop. Jordan Moore was one of those names.
Yep.
Now we didn't know he would be moved to linebacker, but I think he's a perfect fit, and really with him along with Major. Uh, Man, you talking about two guys who are aggressive and go from sideline to sideline. Uh, and you already got a D line that's very active, and so I'm excited to see because we know we have talent in depth. So Jordan Moore was one of the names that was mentioned. Um, I think that the D line has gotten better of the offensive line, by all
Mm-hmm.
reports thus
Mm-hmm.
far, and it seems that the quarterback situation and the backup side of it is kind of where it was 2 years ago, as of right now, where
What's that? We pray that the
you
starter
know,
doesn't get hurt. Is that what you're saying?
no. In terms of the depth chart, it appears that I got from Orlando is
Which one?
picking
There's
up where
two of
he
them.
left off. Well,
Muratovic.
where
Mm-hmm.
Maritovich is the one that's getting
Mm,
most of the comments right now.
Okay.
So we'll
okay.
see.
Told y'all don't sleep on. I've become a big fan of DJ Boney after having him on the show. But I always I told y'all about Muratovic previously. So, but anyway, we'll watch it all play out. It'll good problems to have. And hopefully, these guys get an opportunity. And I'm just really excited about the depth. I really think it is going to be hard for us, those of us who are covering FAMU football, watching FAMU. It is going to be hard for us to temper all of the expectations when we look at our depth chart and we look at the talent and already prognosticate this group being better than 2021. I'm going to say it now. So we're going to have to, every time we say it, we're going to have to slap ourselves on the wrist for a second and be like, we got to wait to see the season play. Because it's going to be hard for us to not say, oh, this D is going to be better than 2021. Because I know we want to say it, and we just got to let them play. We just got to let this group play, you know. And the first game is a mountain to climb. It is a monkey that has to get off our. We got to get a tiger off our back. The hell with a monkey. We got to get a tiger off our back in the realest sense. And that's how real that game is. I'm sorry, that game is real.
Yeah, Yeah, we're gonna have to pull thick 36 out or something, man.
That's
We definitely gotta have the distraction committee. They gotta be in full effect.
Well, you just send them to the hotel. We can figure out what hotel they at and just send them to the damn hotel. Uh, um, hey, while we got some time, let's kind of recap a little bit from the Coach McCullum interview because you guys in the chat room are buzzing. You guys are hilarious, by the way. But I will say this. I am not scoffing at anything any of y'all said. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I get it. I know what you are hearing, and I know, I hear people, I've read a couple comments, people asking about, well, hey, Kim Mulkey just won a title with 9 new players. I'm like, come on, really? That's what y'all gonna do? Y'all
Yeah.
gonna compare y'all gonna compare what Kim Mulkey, and I know that's like feels like apples and apples, but it ain't. It's not. So don't do that. Don't embarrass yourself out there comparing what we had to deal with to LSU. I get what you're trying to say. But here's a couple things that as I'm listening, right? I'm listening to Coach, and I'm curious when you talk about issues to overcome, and I think not only did he talk about the guard play, the lack of leadership, um, guys handling success in their maturity. I couldn't tell you how when he talked. I wish I would have known we were celebrating as hard as we were after Texas Southern because I wouldn't have put a bet down on us going to Prairie View A&M and getting a win. Damn it! I wish I would have known. I'm thinking we can handle that, and then we walked into Prairie View A&M get beat by 30, as Coach said, because we were acting like we won the damn SWAC title. Nah, we didn't. We didn't do nothing. And then the Alabama trip, another opportunity. We watched this team inability to handle success. And my question for you guys, when you see or hear the fact that we have these new guys, and I wanted to get to this and ask this with Coach from a recruiting standpoint, do you think he at all regrets whether it is and I know he will maybe not say this, the particular players that he brought in, or maybe does he wish he could do something different with how like the team building, or maybe he's going to try to do something different with how who he goes after. You know what I'm saying? I think
So Brian, let
yeah,
me. I think I know where you're going, and
yeah.
having been around the program a few years internally, uh, you, you have to have a certain. I think coach is one of those coaches. You have to have a certain kind of player who don't mind being coached because he's old school, and there's just a certain way he goes about things, and not in his style of coaching ain't for everybody. So I think just like if you look at it, I hate to keep bringing this up, but it's a good comparative. If you look across the street, Leonard Hamilton at FSU had the same revelation where he was like he misinterpreted some things, and so he was left with a team that was really young and didn't have experienced leadership, and the experienced players he had weren't the caliber of leaders or the talent that he needed to be competitive. So there there is more of a science to how you put a team together now. But as we saw with FAU and some other programs, if you master that, you can build a team that's competitive fairly quick. If they, you never know till you put it all together. But when I hear him talk about older players, more mature players, the last good team that he had that when MJ was a junior,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they had those 6 or 7 seniors. That I think that was the 21 team. Um, you know, even though they were all mostly homegrown, a couple of junior college kids, but they had been with the program because of COVID 3-4 years, so it was a very
Hmm.
experienced team, and I think that's what he see as his formula for success next year. and we'll just have to see how it plays out.
And Kelvin, that's why I asked that question of him as it relates to how do you get that continuity and keeping players in the program such that you can build it. And maybe he just missed. I mean, we see it at all levels. We see in the NFL, somebody's a number one draft pick and they miss, either for compatibility with the team, work ethic, or just wasn't a good scheme fit, or there was something that appeared one way during the initial introductory phase, when you're interviewing or having somebody on a recruiting trip and then they get there on site and, some things flip. And I know coach couldn't really elaborate. And this is not to like give him cover because, folks will get rough in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
But, just some things don't work. And we have two players.
Sometimes you miss. Sometimes you miss.
Yep. And who were two players who were probably two of our more heralded signed recruits.
Exactly.
Two
Yep.
JUCOs that came in a leading scorer, and I guess they've put their names in the portal, and we'll see how things turn out and what we do in order to backfill those roles and those lost production.
I saw some interesting comment. Roster construction is and I wanted to get to another question with coach, and like I said, this is why I threw that out there about if we get a chance during the spring game to get coach. I would love to know. I mean, defensively, we were as good as we've been in any previous year. I mean, and that part didn't change, but doggone, man, offensively, I would love to. I don't know how. I didn't know how are we that bad offensively? And I know they putting up shots. I know they're doing all kinds of different stuff. I mean, trust me. I mean, they're not just rolling the ball out there and going and sitting in chairs and drinking and letting the guys just do whatever. I know there's a practice plan and you're giving guys opportunities, but it's like, why? I mean, guys that you recruited, they wouldn't have recruited them if they couldn't put the ball in the hole. And then all of a sudden they got to FAM and it's like they couldn't score. I mean, I don't know. You shaking your head. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. You're scoring 15.
Realistically, the lineup that we rolled out there, and there was one question I was gonna get to, but Coach went a little long with his replies. That I'm definitely gonna get in next time we have him. But we only had one shooter, man. At the end of the day,
yeah,
you can say we had one shooter, and we
That's
didn't
it.
play them consistently.
Play as much as
and that,
yeah.
And I really want to know what the deal was with that. Why it was so inconsistent with him.
Yeah, well, it was inconsistent with a lot of guys, and so that's why it'll be interesting to see who else enters the portal. Again, we've lost Byron Smith and Jordan Tillman. That's 15 from Tillman, 8 from Smith. So that's and that's two. I'd say probably your two most active guys outside of maybe Noah and Bates is still coming back. It looks like. So that's
Stevens.
positive. Steve. Oh yeah, and then Steven. So far, we have he seems to be all in still. We'll wait to see. But yeah, there's going to be some opportunities for other guys, but yeah, no, I mean there's so many more. I know you guys, and I would say this: any of you guys, if we didn't get to your question, trust me, there's many reasons why. Please send your question to ongstrikezone@gmail.com. I'll do my best to scour back through the chats and pull your questions, but you guys would do me a big favor if you just send them to us via email, ongstrikezone@gmail.com. And then that way, when we get to the spring game, and when we do have an opportunity to have coach, we'll we can talk about it and figure it out from there. So that's
all right.
That's it. Is there anything else?
Hey, Roy got you on the clock.
I know. That's why. Look, I was going to the final wrap up here, Kelvin. Thank you, Marcus. Any final thoughts
I
and
got your
words
back,
you
Roy.
Oh my gosh. Any final thoughts and words you want to mention, Marcus?
None off the top of my head. Just looking forward to a continued successful spring.
Kelvin.
We got 3 more weeks left before school ends. We need some SWAC championships. At least two. We need to have at least two. I'm more greedy than that. So that's what I'm looking forward to. That in the spring game, football, game to see what I see.
Oh, also
Go ahead.
tomorrow's Student Athlete Day,
Yes.
National Student Athlete Day, and AD Sykes has set up something. I don't know if we have that graphic, but she mentioned it last week at the 220 QB Club.
Yeah, it's on the lawn. It's on the lawn of Gaither. And they're gonna have some food, some drinks, T-shirts, some prizes and stuff for all the student athletes. She helped raise that money with the 220 Club and some other affinity groups, and whatever auxiliary money she had. So
It's good, and I would like to see us move from this into the future, taking advantage of that option that the NCAA gives you, in which you can actually give financial incentives to your student athletes that perform at a high academic rate. There was I think it was like a $5,600.
Yep.
Was it, I don't know if you want to call it a bonus or a stipend or award, but however you want to call it, I mean, that's a heck of a incentive for producing, above a 3.0, I think is what you got to get in the semester, and students are eligible. So I'd love to just do the math and say how many of our student athletes have a 3.0 or higher, and what would that number be? Wonder if it would come anywhere close to what we're about to bring in from, say, some big event on April 15th. I don't know. I'm just curious. I just ask questions. My mind, it works that way, right? I don't know. I don't know. Just a thought.
I'm gonna leave you
Kelvin, you
out
look
there.
okay. Thank you. See, I thought you looked like you wanted to add on, but you were like, "Nah, I'm gonna leave you out there."
I'm gonna leave you
Thank
out there.
Thanks, Calvin. Thanks. Appreciate you. All right, we we gotta go. Uh, Follow the show. Hey, we're trying to up our followers, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ONG Strike Zone. Follow the show. Like us, subscribe, rate, review, share it. If you are part of the ONG Strike Zone Nation, go ahead and make sure you're doing that, please, for us. We appreciate it. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Networks app on the Google Play and Apple App Store. Just search My JBN, My BCSN is where you can find us. And go search for the BCSN Pod Zone. Everywhere you listen to podcasts, you can hear not only our show, but Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, the Carlos Brown Show, the BCSN Sports Wrap, any show that we do on the Black College Sports Network, you can find it right there, BCSN Pod Zone. That's going to do it for tonight. Thank you, everybody on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. Of course, you guys were great comments. Again, send me an email, folks. Don't just leave your questions out there to dry. Send me an email, and so I don't have to go scouring back through the chats on the replay. For our producer Roy, for Marcus, Kelvin, I'm Brian. Be good, Rattler Nation, and make sure when you're out on those streets, make sure to strike, and strike again. Peace out.